Hello and welcome to No Rest for the Weekend, where we go behind the scenes and talk to the creators of independent entertainment. I'm Jason Godbey, and with me in the Rabbit Hole studio today, she is an accomplished actor and creator, Miss Arielle Raycene. Welcome, Arielle.
Hi.
Thanks for coming to Brooklyn. I appreciate it. You're currently working in New York on the stage, so I appreciate you taking the time out. So I want to talk to you about different projects. I want to talk to you about acting. I want to talk to you about all the Instagram stuff that you've done in the play, obviously, that you're doing now. But first I want to talk to you about you. Mm-hmm. So how did you get into this mess? How did you get into show business and all that? What is your origin story, so to speak?
I guess I was one of those blessed people who always knew what she wanted to do in life. And I guess I was born to know what I wanted, which is funny and weird, and I don't know if that's lucky to want to be doing show business, but it's inside of me. And ever since I was little, I was performing for my family. My mom put me with LA models when I was really young, and so I was going on go-sees before I could barely walk. And then I did an AT&T commercial, got my SAG card, and then was in theater growing up. And instead of writing like for homework assignments, I asked if I could do film projects instead. And so I always knew it was going to be something involved with a camera. And so just in case, to make sure it wasn't just me thinking that acting was it, I went to college to study journalism, broadcast journalism, and that just was not for me. And I was also studying theater, and that was my heart and soul. So right after I graduated, I just went back into acting.
By the time this airs, you won't be, but you're currently taking time out of an off-Broadway play that you're doing. So I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about that and talk to you about the role and how that sort of came to be. Tell us about the play, first of all.
Okay, well, Used is about the art of a transactional relationship, and I play this New York City escort who has to go on a job. And so with this guy. So it's a very intimate setting between two people that we never get to see in the real life. And it's basically how everyone is using each other one way or another. But if we stop and we actually start paying attention to other people and caring for other people, the world could be a lot more beautiful, let's say. So that's what it's about.
And what is your role in it? So you play an escort.
Right. I'm the lead actress.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm playing a New York City escort.
And what is she like? How would you describe the character?
Well, she has two names. She goes by Amanda for her escort name. Her real name's Harmony. And I would say she's been very hurt in the past by her family, and she feels like she has an obligation to take care of her mom. And she obviously wants to get out of the position she's in, but at this point she's like on the hamster wheel. And so she's just doing it and she's studying psychology. So she has a lot of fun with
those two jobs are related.
Yeah, it is. So she has a lot of fun with males and work, and she does like it. But at the end of the day, it's not forever, and she knows that.
Had you acted on stage prior to this? Had you done like Broadway or off-Broadway or anything like that before?
No. I studied theater in college, and I did theater growing up, but no, this is my first time on stage. And we actually, because it's a festival, we couldn't get on the actual stage until the day of.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah. And but you have a lot of on-camera experience. You've done a lot of on-camera acting.
I do.
So talk to me a little bit, because we have a lot of actors who watch this show and listen to this show. And I always think it's, because I started out, I was a theater kid myself, and I grew up doing theater and came to New York doing theater and acted on the stage. And but I was always interested in doing movies, and I did then I started working behind the camera more often. But the difference in performing, I think it's Michael Caine described it as it's like doing an operation with a scalpel versus an operation with a laser. Mm-hmm. So the scalpel being theater work. Did you have to make adjustments in your own style and because the cardinals? I think the thing that every theater director says when they get a film actor is too small.
Right.
You're too small. I can't hear you. I can't. You're not. You're not indicating enough. You're not big enough, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Did you have to go through a growing pains to get to be on stage?
Yes, definitely. There are moments where she's always like, you have to go bigger right here. I know it feels ridiculous to you, but you have to. And so she's like, just muscle memory it. And that was a lot of stuff I had to work on, because if there's a distraction in the theater or whatever, you can't stop like you can in TV. You have to go. And that you are on a ride, like a roller coaster ride once you step out on stage, because I never go off stage once I go on. And so it is a roller coaster, and whatever comes your way is you got to ride with it.
And how many people are in this play with you?
There's a total of 6 of us.
You have to hold up your end of the stage, as we used to say.
Definitely. That's what I had to learn. Was she told me to command my stage, because she's like, it's your stage, command it. So that was something else.
Yeah, Michael Caine has this other great story where he was doing a play, and he was in a scene, but he didn't have any lines. And the director said, "Michael, what are you doing?" And he said, "I'm not doing anything. I don't have any lines." And he said, "I don't have anything to say." And the director said to him, "Of course you do. You have wonderful things to say. You have great things to say, but you stand there quietly and decide not to say them." And he's like, that's basically what he interpreted as like the art of listening on stage.
It's so true, because she did say the director, she's been doing this for a long time.
Drop her name.
Her name's Mimi.
Okay.
I'll give you the pamphlet. She's great.
Okay.
So she did say the person that's not talking on stage, that's who the audience is looking at, because to get their reaction or to watch them listen. So that was something to learn too. It really is listening, because there's no camera that's going to take you away from that person.
Right, and they don't get a close-up.
No.
You know, so and you don't get a close-up, so you have that, there's no reaction shot. So you have to be in the reaction shot all the time while the play is going, to make sure that you're just in there. And then, if you're doing this as a limited engagement, but should you get this gig and do it, 7-8 times a week, you've got to find some way to be engaged that every night.
Yeah, you have to recreate the moment every night, and it's not just acting, you have to perform. It is a performance. I mean, it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, it's very depleting. Like you feel like, I remember an acting teacher saying to me one time that doing a stage show is like running a marathon and doing your SATs at the same time.
It is. It's
like
so true.
The amount of concentration that you have to remember everything and be in the moment, and also just the physical energy that you have to exude. Do you feel like at this point, kind of working in New York and, doing stage, do you think that's helped the other work that you've done? Do you think that's helped with the with on-camera acting at all, or giving you new muscles to stretch and so forth?
Yes, it has. I love, I don't know, being in a play, you get like the satisfaction almost instantly. Wow, what a beautiful thing. It's almost like similar to modeling, because you get the photo almost instantly. But when you start doing film and TV, you do it, and then you don't see it for forever, and then you get you get it later. But the performance of it is like, that feels good, and you get high. I felt like I was on drugs or something yesterday after I got done.
Yeah, it does make a big difference. And, in the response that you get from being on, it's like the director or producer or something it's a small group of people, and you don't really see it unless you go into a theater and see it with a bunch of people, which is a whole different experience.
Right.
Because then it's almost like not even you up there anymore. It's like this image of you kind of thing, whereas, you're in the same room when you're, playing on stage. I think every actor should do stage at least at one point in their career.
I mean, it really stretches your muscles.
Yeah.
The amount of focus and intensity you have to have, and just being present. I mean, you really have to listen, because then it just doesn't make sense if you're not listening. But
before that, you did a lot of on-camera work, and was that kind of what you were trained in? Did you come from a camera background, or you did theater and then
I did
kind of
theater.
learned?
I grew up in theater.
So these are old muscles that you're kind of exercising.
And then right after college, I started studying in LA with a bunch of different acting teachers, and we worked on camera. So I was just in school continuously working on camera until I was comfortable. But also doing broadcast journalism, I got really comfortable with the camera too.
Early in your career, you created some of your own work, and you were kind of an early adapter on the Instagram platform.
I was.
So I want to kind of talk to you about that, because a running theme on this show has been actors who have sort of taken the reins into their own hands and created their own stuff.
Right.
And and you did that with a platform that people really weren't doing it with. And so I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about that. So can you tell us a little bit about that project and kind of how it came about?
Yeah, I called it Stated. And I was going on a trip for a photo shoot with Maxim to Bali. And I've been wanting to do something different, like just change up everything. So I came up with this idea to do monologues from like the 1800s to like popular songs to these days, or like take poems from Robert Frost and like flip it on its head and do it in a way that no one's ever seen it before. And then I kind of added just like bikinis and lingerie while I'm doing it. But I also did it all in one take. So I would sing an entire song, or not even sing, I'd like create a story around it. I mean, they were all very bizarre things, but it was like my version of art and an expression. And people say I should do like a one-man show doing it, like in live, like a live performance. I haven't done that yet, but
that's next year.
Yeah, that's next year.
So the idea kind of came about. Did you kind of see the platform and the potential in the platform, or was it something you always wanted to do, and then you said, "Oh, this could be a vehicle for it"?
Well, I just thought everyone loves Instagram with girls in bikinis, right? So I was like, why can't I, try to show my art and be in a bikini and see what will happen with that,
And then did you get, what was the response to it? Did you get a lot of attention because of it?
I would say people thought it was very weird, and I think they probably didn't know how to react necessarily. But, I mean, yeah, I got feedback. People saw it, and they were like, keep going. This is great. Like, the people that got it, and I think it was more filmmakers and industry people, which is exactly what I was targeting anyways. They understood it and appreciated it. So that was the whole point of it.
Do you feel like you got work because of that? Is that something somebody saw and said, oh, I saw you in the...
Yeah, I have.
I feel like now everybody has to have some sort of relationship with social media. Mm-hmm. It's either you divorced yourself from it, like a lot of people are doing now, or you have to kind of fully embrace it. And sometimes you feel like you own it, and sometimes you feel like it owns you. At least that's the way I feel about it. Sometimes,
Absolutely.
some days when I'm doing shots or something, or getting behind the scenes or whatever I'm doing, I feel like, great, I'm working for Instagram right now. How has your relationship sort of with the platform changed? And how do you kind of manage that? Because I know actresses now, they're getting hired because of their social media platforms, because they've got X amount of followers on Instagram, and you've built a following there.
I did.
And I would venture to guess that wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't easy.
Talk to me about your relationship with Instagram now, and kind of the pressure of, sort of keeping up with it and the maintenance of it and so forth.
I definitely have a love and hate relationship. When you're doing something and you have content that comes easily, that is my love when I love Instagram. And also it's such an easy way to not talk to people but show them what you're doing and stay connected to other people. It's impossible to keep connected with that many people without a platform like Instagram or some kind of social networking thing. Yes, it is a lot of pressure, because if you don't post every day or not consistently, then your engagement will go down, and you can tell how many people come on your profile, like new people. So that's always discouraging when you don't post for a while. But yeah, there'll be times where I'm like, this month I need time off, and I just don't even click on it or anything. That way you can't compare yourself to anyone, and your mind is a little bit better and clearer after you're not on it. But we have to use it as a platform, so it's something we have to kind of accept.
Do you have any advice that you would give somebody who's in your position now, the young actor / model type who's trying to make it, and they want to build a following, they're trying to build an audience so that they can get work. Is there anything you would say to them in terms of what they should do or what they shouldn't do?
Well, everyone's been telling me not to do anything sexy on it. So I have definitely been in the process of revamping my Instagram, and I took down a lot of things. So that was probably, that's something, you got to trade followers and likes eventually at the end of the day for it, but it's not really worth it at the end of the day. So, I would say, and, actually try to fight for something or be really you, because that's what the world needs, is authenticity. And that's rare to find on Instagram nowadays, with the altering of photos and all that
Yeah,
fun
it's like the
stuff.
opposite of authenticity.
It really is. I didn't know for a while that there was such a thing as these apps like Facetune and all that stuff. And I was wondering how these girls looked so beautiful or just like so perfect. I was so confused by it. I don't think I knew about it for like a year. And then I finally learned. I was like, whoa, this is how everyone's like flawless. But it's, that's sad. What a scam.
Well, I also find that the kind of like selfie culture and, even pressure to like, so say you're doing a movie or say you're doing a play, my attitude was always, I don't want to talk about it until it's done. Like, I don't want to show anything until it's showable. Like, I don't want to, I don't want people to see, every bad take or what it looks, the mess of whatever.
Right.
Whatever is outside camera range, I don't want them to see. But now there's this pressure to be like, doing a story, doing behind the scenes video, releasing posts every day. I'm working on this thing. And now, if you're a creator, like that's adding all this pressure to get the thing done. Because you have to, if everybody feels like they have to have everything instantly.
I know.
As opposed to, let me just take my time.
It's true.
And then, but nobody has, a lot of people don't have the marketing or like people to handle that for them. So there's a lot of pressure on the creator to like create all this excess marketing material while they're trying to make a movie, and it's like hard enough to make a movie. You know what I mean? And as an actor too, I'm sure that people are looking at you when you get hired, and tell me if this is true. But when you get hired for a gig, do people kind of see you as an Instagram commodity, where they're saying, well, she's got a huge following. If we book her for this, we're getting free marketing essentially from this candidate,
right?
Or from this actor, kind of thing.
It's definitely a double-edged sword, I would say, because yes, there are some projects where they want that Instagram following, or they're like, oh yeah, we'll have her, that'll be good, and then that adds to that other person who has all those followers. But then on the other hand, unless if you really okay, so talent will always outshine your followers. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you have the talent and the chops. And sometimes they look at you on Instagram and are like, oh, you are concentrated on that more so than acting. So then they won't take you seriously. So it really is a double-edged sword.
You feel like you've lost anything because of the following or because they just see you as a model?
I know I've gotten passed over on some auditions that I would have really loved to have, which sucks. But I've also gotten auditions that I have because of my following. So it really is but that's the beauty of Hollywood, right? No one knows how to get to a certain place. No one can tell you the exact way to do it. And that's just the way it is.
I mean, that's why we have this show.
Yeah, It's so confusing. Can we just figure it out?
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's there are many roads to Mecca kind of thing, and everybody's got a different path that they need to take. And, I feel for, a certain type, there's always going to be now this pressure for them socially where, like if you were a 40-something character actor, if you don't have a great Instagram profile, like nobody cares, but, if you're an actress / lingerie model, if you don't have X amount of following, they're like, who is this person kind of thing.
Well, I always love how the famous actors or actresses, they can like post their feet or something just like whatever, like their coffee mug, and they'll like get so many likes and like off the charts comments, because they can do whatever they want, which is a beautiful thing, and I want to get there. But because at my level, you still have to make sure things look aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
And people want to go view your page or like do something interesting. Don't show me like your coffee mug, even though I think it's a cool coffee mug. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, here's that kind of raises another question. So, with I know with my stuff as a photographer and the videography stuff that I do, my page is pretty curated toward what I want to do. And it's very much for professional reasons. I don't do a lot of personal stuff on there, just because I got enough on my plate. It's
right,
like,
I get it.
Why do that? But for someone like you, like how curated is it? Can you really, because like Instagram is all about like being in the moment and stuff like that, but how, it's not really though.
No.
Like when you see bikini woman on the beach in Bali, there's a photographer there. There's probably a makeup team. There's
there's a whole team of
this
people.
This is not her just like clicking a selfie. It's very much curated.
So stories are for in the moment.
Right.
The photo is the thing you have to think about.
Do you curate your page like that? Do you kind of like look at the whole thing and figure out?
Yeah, I actually kind of am. It's so annoying. It's how my brain works because I have all these photos from the play. And so I was like, okay. And like, if I do it diagonal, all the photos from my play, that might look aesthetically pleasing. And then it kind of spreads it out. So it's like, oh, I can post that play photo. Then I have to post 3 other photos and then that play photo,
Yeah, I do know. And, and this is all valuable stuff because I think there's probably a lot of people, especially performers, that sort of labor under this delusion that these beautiful people always look beautiful and that they're always like living this amazing life. And, the truth is it's like it's all curated, it's all cultivated. And, they're doing it for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
This is all about, business and so. And it's got nothing to do with acting.
It is show business. Business. That's what I always forgot. I didn't get that. And a lot of people don't get that at the beginning. And then when you do understand it, you got to take it to the next level. Frank
Fernandez, who was on the show, he's a producer for many years in television. He said it's not show friends, it's show business.
Yeah,
which
true.
Is hard to hear, because you didn't get into this. I mean, I'm sure you wanted to do this out of love of performing,
Mm-hmm.
And not the love of marketing.
No, not at all.
What hopes do you guys have now for the play and for your future stuff? Do you have any upcoming projects you want to brag about?
I'm actually writing a project right now. It's a short film about Andy Warhol. And I'm using only the quotes that he's ever said in his real life that are famous. And it's like in an interview setting. And I'm playing all 3. There's about 3 different main characters, and I'm playing all 3 of them.
Are you playing Andy Warhol as well?
Andy Warhol. Because I feel like Andy would appreciate the art that I'm going to give him. Like, I love Andy so much. So I'm going to, flip it on it. Just do something different.
Do you have plans for that? When you want that to come out and so forth?
I don't.
You don't have to say if you can't say.
No, I don't know when I'm gonna have that all come out. It's just in the process.
That sounds like fun though. I'm sure Andy Warhol would not mind being played by a woman. He was pretty androgynous anyway.
I think he would like it.
For the play itself, you're in a festival right now.
Mm-hmm.
But going forward, are they looking to take it to other venues and so forth?
Well, it might run again, so we'll see about that. And we'll see what happens. The writers we're all just going to see what happens. We're not putting big expectations but things are happening.
Excellent. So, and I'll ask you at the end where people can find out more information and so forth. But so for you, for anyone looking to follow you or want to know where you're working next, where can they find you on the web?
Oh, okay. My Instagram is at the Arielle Ray, ArielleRay. And then my Twitter, which I'm trying to use more, but I find it a lot easier just using one social platform, is Arielle Raycene, Raycene.
Fantastic. So I'm going to wrap up. Thank you all for taking this trip down the rabbit hole. For more of our episodes and more of our content, you can find them on our website, norestoftheweekendpodcast.com. And be sure to subscribe on all your favorite podcast apps. And now we're also on Footprint.tv. So Footprint Network has been a home for Behind the Rabbit Productions. We'll have this show and much more other content there for you as well. Once again, I just want to thank Arielle for showing up. I really appreciate you coming here. In between traveling back and forth and doing the show, it's really great to have you.
Thank you.
And for Behind the Rabbit Productions, I'm Jason Godbey. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.